Hello and welcome to Interactive Distractions. My name is Chris Fricchio and I am here with Jason A. Stryker.
Hey, that's me.
And Glenn Burgess.
Yo, what up?
We are Sans Jeff and Sans Travis this week. Day after Thanksgiving, lots of schedule conflicts and stuff like that. But this is episode 448. Hope you're going to enjoy it. We're going to do distractions and maybe dig a little deeper into a topic about one of the games that we're going to be discussing. But before that, like Glenn, it's been a while, man. How you doing? What's up?
It has been a while. I'm doing good. Life is different with two kids at home now. So I've got a 3-month-old as of 3 days ago, and yeah, that combined with a toddler is a
challenge. It's a challenge. How old is your oldest again?
She's gonna be 3 in February.
Nice.
So she's at the tail end of 2, and yeah.
Okay.
That combined with bringing a new baby into the house and all the other changes around that, it's an interesting time.
Of course,
for sure.
It's a lovely time.
It is. It really is.
But it's a good spacing between your kids. Like my kids are 2 years and 4 months apart, so you're not too far off of that. Yeah. It sounds like.
Okay.
You're almost. You said almost 3 and 3 months, right? So about around the same.
My sister just shy of 2 years.
Perfect. So the older one's able to change diapers and stuff. So
that's right. Yeah.
Ooh,
awesome.
Soon. She can start with her own.
Okay. There we go.
Whenever that happens, that'd be great. That's a whole other struggle, but do
the shopping around the house and stuff. Yeah.
If she can, have you guys ever seen? So there's this Netflix show, and it's like I think it's in Japan.
Yeah.
And they have these kids, these little babies. They literally are 2 years old, and they send them with a list.
That's ridiculous. They can't even read the list.
Right. They're walking like 3 miles to go to a grocery store.
What?
Stop. And like the whole thing is like being narrated and they're being followed by a camera crew. They're like, oh, let's see if she remembered the loaf of bread. Oh, she forgot it. Oh, she's starting to cry. Will she remember? And I'm just sitting here looking at this poor child crying in the middle of a grocery store, and like all the adults just walking around her like they're inconvenienced by her existence. I'm like, this is heartbreaking. That's
a horrible show. That's a horrible concept. Like, who thought of that?
That's a trial by fire.
So anyway, I've set her up for casting.
Trial by explosion. Jesus. Nice.
You got to learn sometime.
That's right.
Aside from that, it was Thanksgiving. So we have a bunch of people over, and that means that we have to cook 2 turkeys.
You hosted. All right, cool.
We hosted.
2 turkeys.
Yeah. 2 turkeys, and we deep fry both of them.
Oh shit!
So,
nice.
So we had 2 big old turkey fryers set up yesterday.
I
saw that picture in the backyard, right?
Yep. It's always a good time. My favorite thing about it is that it's only like 2 hours, a little less than cooking time to get those birds done. So you don't have to have anybody, locked into the kitchen where they're just basting this bird and keeping an eye on it from like 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So that's significantly better. We all get more time to hang out and spend with family. But you may not know that the turkey, the burners for those things, have timers on them because they don't want you to leave them unattended. Every 15 minutes, the burner will shut itself off. So I have to set a timer for 10 minutes. And every 10 minutes, I got to go out and make sure the temperature is regulated, set the timer back, and make sure it's not going to run out. So it's an event. And then a couple times the thing went out, and I had to go out there with a creme brulee torch I've got set up to refire the burners. But it is top notch. If you've never had a deep fried turkey, I cannot recommend it enough. Go get you one. It's good times.
My brother-in-law was here yesterday. We hosted as well. And he was, one of the things that he follows on Reddit is the Darwin Awards. And he was Thanksgiving themed, and there was a dude that was deep frying a turkey in his kitchen on top of cardboard, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, it's like I'm just waiting for this house to blow up. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the house to blow up. It's fine.
That's rough. I think my favorite 2 things to watch are people who've never done it before, and they either just take the turkey and just go
No.
plunge it immediately. And that's a grease fire. And then on top of that, there are people that take a frozen bird, a fully frozen turkey, and
Smart.
they just drop it in that oil.
Oof. Oh,
Not
man.
hot out.
Super
And
smart.
that, instant fire, instant grease fire.
Wow.
Thankfully, none of that. I've done my time as a fry cook in a few kitchens, so I know my way around oil and how that works. So,
And you know how to keep the water away from it. That's important.
yeah. We got the techniques down. So,
Good stuff.
other than that, the other big news, and I started to allude to this before the show started. These flags started popping up in our neighborhood. You know, like people marking things and whatever. We got these blue flags. Like, okay, why? And I looked around and it's the entire neighborhood. Everybody's got these flags in their yard.
Oh shit.
And then a bunch of orange flags came through, and I'm like, what is going on? And then the other day we're driving on the neighborhood, and there's this big old spool of orange cable that's getting pulled through the ground, and I'm like, oh my god, it's finally happening, guys!
Is it time? Is it time?
We're getting fiber optic in our neighborhood.
That's awesome.
You will suckle on the teat of the fiber internet. Oh my god!
I cannot wait. When we moved to this house, there was a gigabit internet option, and I was like, "Sweet, we're finally gonna get fiber."
Yeah.
And they're like, "No, it's a copper cable." By gigabit, we mean 850 meg up or down, and about 30 meg up, and you still get that nice copper latency. So, good luck, and hopefully it works out for you. So I'm stoked. I'm hoping that gets done very quickly, and I will be lined up at whichever provider it is.
I was going to ask, what provider? Do you know what it is?
So I currently have Spectrum, and my thought is it's probably going to be Spectrum. But if you go on the other side of the main road that divides like our neighborhoods from the ones across the street, all of the fiber boxes there are Quantum Fiber, which is CenturyLink, I believe.
Okay.
So I don't know which one it's going to be, but either one of them is fiber optic. So it's going to be better than what's running to my house now, which is like copper infrastructure from 1998. So
shit.
Yeah, we don't have any fiber yet in our neighborhood either.
No,
I know that like I do cable, and we've got Spectrum as well. And right now we get like 350 down. And you know how it is. It's 350 down and it's like 10 up. It's like they just limit you because they feel like it. And I went to switch to I tried to switch to AT&T once because they were supposed to start running fiber. And they were like, well, we don't have fiber there yet, but you can get, and this is several years ago. I think at the time I had 100 down from Spectrum, and they were like, yeah, but what you'll get right now is 75 down. And I'm like, all right, that's not too much of a dip from 100 down, but you know, if they're going to get fiber later, fine.
It's a 25% difference.
Yeah, it is.
25% discount on my bill, please.
That's right. But when they came out, they tested the line where when it was coming to the house, and they said, "Oh, you're not even getting 75. You're getting 25." And I'm like, "You can keep it. I'll see you later. I'll stick with Spectrum. It's fine."
That's
so
crazy.
Yeah, but Spectrum gets us 350 down right now, which is fine.
Yeah.
I like to have fiber. Google Fiber is apparently in the Roswell area, in our area, but not in my neighborhood. So I'm sitting here waiting for it.
They say they're in Marietta as well, so hopefully soon. That would be nice.
It would be.
I already have it though, so it's like.
You already have fiber?
Yeah, I already have fiber. That was a prerequisite of getting our place, AT&T. Okay. So when we were looking for places to rent, I needed fiber for my job at the time. So it's like,
oh, that makes sense.
So I was like, literally, like every house that we were looking at, I'd have to punch into the AT&T website to find out if they had service there. And it was a nightmare.
And if it was fast enough.
Yep. But we eventually made it.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Jason, what's up with you?
I need it to match the rest of my setup because I've got multiple APs and things running in the house for a network. So I need to live up to that.
It's true. The seas parted and my sickness is gone. Knock on wood.
3 weeks later.
3 weeks later.
Nice.
But it cleared up just in time for Thanksgiving dinner, which was yesterday.
That's good.
That was very good. Yeah, because we were hosting as well, just for the in-laws and such. So, but it's very, very low key. You know, we still have like a card table for a dinner table, and my son and I sat at like a bench. I was joking that I was at the kids' table with him. But no, it was a good time, good food, and such. But of minor importance, actually, it's more important now that I'm broke. It just hits different, and it's those Black Friday deals. I'm like buying pants and shit and responsible stuff. I bought some books. I'm not buying any video game shit. I'm buying fucking pants. So that was a good portion of my day today was just like scouring down deals, like doing Christmas shopping. I got something for your daughter today, actually.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I'm pretty sure I still have all your presents from last year sitting in the other room.
Excellent.
Because I haven't actually seen you physically since then.
It's been too long. It's been too long.
It has, yeah. Well, we're gonna fix that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I know that Crystal's finished up all of our shopping too, so she just does it all. Like she doesn't even consult me. She's like, "Oh, by the way, Christmas shopping's done." I'm like, "Oh, that's
nice.
great. I'm glad I could, give my input of here's my credit card."
Yeah, I try and play my hand as well as I can when taking out stuff, but usually Lisa does it. But if I come across something that's good, we're getting it.
Yeah. I getcha.
But yeah, that's it. Like Black Friday stuff. I did get a bunch of movies like ahead of time, but before like Black Friday, the actual day, because it's a 2-week long event now. It's not just one day.
It's not Black Friday anymore. It's Black Month.
Yep. So
Black Sale Month or Thanksgiving Sale Month or whatever you want to call it.
But I kept it to like $10 a piece, like per movie or something like that. Like I did. $13 is okay, but like 15 was too much. So I had limits that I gave myself, but I got some really good stuff.
But are any in steel books, Jason?
Actually, one was, but that was by accident purely. I did not seek out the steel books. Otherwise, I'd have a Howard the Duck steel book in hand.
Oh, nice.
That was on the table, but it was $5 more. So
unacceptable.
Yep, I couldn't do it. I couldn't justify it.
On Black Friday, $5 is another movie.
Yeah, exactly. See,
yeah, hard to justify. I'm with you, man.
We kind of forgot it was Black Friday. So today we got up and we started taking things down for like Christmas decorations and whatever else. And we're like, oh yeah, we need some more whatever. Let's just go to Home Depot real quick. We just hop in the car with the 2 kids and the giant stroller the size of a Cadillac, and we're pulling into Home Depot, and we look in the parking lot, and we're like, "There's people waiting to park," which is just never happens. And we look, and I'm like, "Why is it? Oh God, it's Black Friday!" Like we both just had the realization at the same time, and we tried to go in for about 10 seconds, and just looked around and went, "No, this isn't for us. We're not those people." We're not those people anymore. We got to go.
Nope.
Yeah, I could not bring myself to go into a physical store on Black Friday. Like even on most days, I have trouble going into a physical store nowadays. It's like
just in general.
Yep.
Yeah. Because why bother?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I
do.
Black Friday, and that's as much. I just want to get out of the house once in a while, but like fuck it on Black Friday. I don't want to do that.
Right.
Like, I get it. It's crazy.
Anyway, how's it going with you, Chris?
Same story. We hosted. My mother and father-in-law and my brother-in-law came over. We only cooked the turkey, so we basically we outsourced everything else. So we did honey baked ham, and we got a ham, and we got the sides from them as well. And then last week I talked about the doodle pies thing, and that went over really well. So we threw those in the oven for a little while, and everybody had their own personal pie, and it worked out really well.
Sweet.
Turkey came out okay. I did not deep fry it, but I always put like a layer of olive oil on the bottom of the pan, and then I put it breast side down to soak all of it up. But so it usually comes out pretty good. But yeah, that was pretty much it. And today we decided that we were going to do nothing, so we did nothing today. I played video games on all day, most of the day anyway. And we have a couple of things that we were looking at for Black Friday, but we haven't really gotten anything. The only thing we actually bought that was on a Black Friday sales, we got I got Crystal a Chromebook essentially for it's kind of her big Christmas present essentially, but she wanted something reasonable, easy to use, that she could do her online tabletop, her online D&D sessions with.
Yeah.
So like Roll20 and Foundry or whatever it is, the other one that she does.
Is all that stuff browser based or?
Most of it is browser based. I did find out that one of them is Steam based, and it's not. And so I got to. You can install Linux on the Chromebook, and I could do Steam for Linux and download it that way. Okay. So I just got to go through that process to get it. But it'll run, from what I understand.
Cool.
But yeah, so and we booted it up and it got it all set up for everything, and it's working pretty well. It seems really snappy. And it was cheap. It was like a high end. It's a Chromebook that has an Intel i5 in it, and it was like $450 or something like that. So
neat.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. As I said, just playing some games. So let's talk about them. Glenn, I'm going to throw it to you first, man, because we haven't heard from you in a while.
Yeah, please.
What are you playing?
All the fun stuff has kind of passed by. Like we've already discussed on the show at some point in time. I'm at a point now where I went through a rut about 3 weeks where I just went, I'm not playing anything. I've got too much going on. I'm going to sleep.
I'm still in that rut right now. Oh my God.
When you have a toddler and an infant, that'll happen.
I just
or a fatal disease like me.
Or a fatal disease.
or that,
all of them. God forbid the combination. So I'm at a point now where I'm trying to pick up the quick plays that I didn't finish for 2023 yet. So I'm doing Planet of Lana. I've started playing through that again. I never quite finished it. That's like the Limbo, like where I think Jeff talked about it a little bit. And this character is on a planet, and all of a sudden these robots descend and capture all of your villagers, and you just gotta do the whole platformer puzzle solver thing to get through from A to B. Okay. It's like a 4 or 5 hour game. I just haven't finished it. So I've been knocking them out like 3 screens at a time before I fall asleep at night, the slowest way possible on the Steam Deck. Just where most of my gameplay happens, just spoilers moving forward. I'm also trying to get back into Hi-Fi Rush that I never finished because I really, really love that game. But since I was playing things on the
let's
Steam
talk
Deck,
about that because I was playing it this week too. So how far are you in it? And did you jump back in?
I'm not far at all. I think I'm only about 2-3 hours in total.
Okay. Well, it's not a long game. It's a pretty quick burn. It took me I finished it last night, actually. Okay. And I think it was a total of about like 11 or 12 hours. And just a tremendously fun game from front to back. Like I just had so much fun playing it. Like the story is really fun. Like, and that's what it is. It's like, it's all fun. It's like none of it's really serious. It's not drama or anything. It's a whole lot of laughs, with fun characters, and it's just an entertaining game from start to finish. But I did finish it up. The ending is pretty good. But that last sequence with the last 2 bosses were really, really fun. Jason, did you finish Hi-Fi Rush?
No, I'm like in the same boat with Glenn, actually. Like I'm a few hours in, but I'm far enough removed from it that I've forgotten how to play.
So you can go back and play it. Yeah. Go back
it's just unique enough. Like none of the combinations you remember for like, oh, you can unleash your ultimate. I'm like, all right, so it's these 2 buttons? No, it's this one? No,
I'll be honest with you.
What is it? I don't remember how.
I'll be honest with you. When it came to the combat, what I noticed is that for me, I was always a lot more effective when I was more focused on just using the beat. If it was less about kicking off combos. It was less about what super moves I was using. It was more about just making. No, absolutely, you're going to. But what I'm saying is, you focus on understanding the combat, going with the beat first.
Sure.
And once you do that, you go and you find some bread and butter combos that work for you and are fun to pull off. And that's what I ended up doing. I had for me, it was the dodge, parry, grapple, and I had 2 or 3 combos that I would do on a regularly. And that was the bread and butter throughout the majority of the thing. The super move, I always had the heal on. So if I ended up getting hit too much, I would just use the heal and get my life back, and then I'd be able to go back in and kick some butt again. So I didn't really ever have to use any of the combat oriented special moves. I just used I just used the heal, and
that's my problem in games in general, where you can spec out any kind of abilities. If there's an option for me to pick something that's going to heal me or give me armor, or another option that's going to hurt other things, I'm always going to pick the do more damage. Sure. And like my strategy in all these games is just kill everything quick enough that it doesn't matter how little health I have.
And I'm the opposite. I'm like, survivability, please. That's what I need.
That's why Elden Ring took me 105 hours.
I would say definitely go back to it. Like, but I will say that like one of the things that I had been talking with Glenn about is just the pacing in the beginning is really difficult. So just once you get past those first like two bosses, I think I'll say this: once you get Corsica, like the game is just amazing throughout the rest of it. Corsica? No, yeah. Corsica is it's the third jump-in character that you get.
Oh man, no, I'm not even that far. Okay.
Nope.
I think she is the
I don't know if I knew there were other jump-in characters yet. Sorry. It kills me too, because the music selection is so good, and like they open up with the first boss fight with a Nine Inch Nails song. You'd think that I would have been like, yeah, I'm all in. All right, I'm gonna not play anything else until I beat this.
They end the game with the Nine Inch Nails song too.
Then now I'm gonna play through it. Thank you.
Now you're gonna play through it. That's what I'm here for.
You coaxed me into it.
Sweet. That's what it's all about. But once you get Corsica, and she's the. I want to say she's either the second or the third boss.
Me too. I think it's the second. Say that.
That's what I was thinking.
Honestly, her entire sequence is like I literally was laughing my ass off while I was playing that section of the game. It was really good.
Well, I can't wait to dig back in deep on it. Anything that like the fact that it's like a rhythm game that disguises itself as a beat 'em up, like it's got both of those pieces, and that it just feels so right. But the only thing that's kept me from it, like I said, most of my gaming these days is done on the Steam Deck. But the other piece of that is it's because most of my gaming is done while I'm laying in bed until about 1 a.m. to fall asleep. So I have to have headphones. And if you look around my house, other than what I have on right now, 90% of my headphones and earbuds are Bluetooth. And you cannot play a game like that over Bluetooth. It's
not going to work.
You can't try to correct it. You can't do any of that. It's going to be a bad time.
Yep.
So I got to go dig up an old pair of earbuds so that I can pop them in and actually listen and get the timing correct so that I can enjoy the game. Otherwise, it's the most frustrating thing.
I don't even know where I'd find one of those. Holy shit.
Yeah, God. I got to go find an old phone box from like 2010 where they boxed them in.
That's right. An old smartphone.
I've got some Samsung, what is it, the AKGs around somewhere. Sure. I'm sure.
I think I got some like sitting right here somewhere. I'm sure I got some. Whatever.
Somewhere.
So those were the other two, but the one that was the last big game I sunk a ton of time into before my rut was good old Sea of Stars.
All right.
Yes.
And I spent 40 plus hours on that game, guys.
Did you finish it?
Oh yeah. I finished it once, and then I finished it and got the true ending, which
okay.
What do you have to do for that? Get all the
recommend
conch shells or something? Or?
So
oh boy.
Here we go. I'm about to get the explanation.
I didn't know.
When you play through the end the first time, this device that's in like the second area you go to lights up. So like when you're walking around, there's all those rocks with runes on them and things.
Yeah.
And you go up and you try to read it, and it says time has taken away the blah 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 blah. So you can't read the runes, which is fine. There's an area where there's like this circle of runes, and you can't do anything there. But you've got this like, oh, this clearly is something. Like, why the hell is this here? At the end of it, the first time through, one of those lights up, and it says an ancient machine has started to turn on or something like that. There are, I want to say, 6 runes that are around that one. And what you have to do is light all of them up And that is everybody who's in your party, every single person, which is a lot of people, have their own specific side quest. And it's either to get them their top tier weapon or, some sort of top tier clothing, whatever. But each time you do one of those, it lights up one. And then the killer, like you said, is the collectathon. You have to get all of the rainbow conch shells, and there's 60 of them.
Really?
That was the part where I almost gave up.
That's what
because
those things are
there's no way to go like, oh, there's this area has these things and you are missing them. Eventually, when you get enough conch shells, you can purchase this little parrot that goes on the Vespertine ship for you. And then you can scan the islands, and you push a button and the parrot tells you like nice. One line of something that's missing. And then you push it again and it's something else that's missing. And you push again, it's something else that's missing. And it's not in order, and it repeats sometimes. So you just have to keep pushing it until it says, oh, there's a conch shell in this land. And then you have to go find that conch shell somewhere in that land. And I definitely pulled up a guide eventually. I'm like, I'm done. I'm not searching for these things.
Well, I think what bothers me about that thought is that they don't do collectibles very well in this game. Like, it's not like, it doesn't tell you how many conch shells you've got out of how many are there on each of the islands, right? You have to. So the bird thing
not on
sounds,
each island. Yeah.
Like the bird thing sounds like it's like a stopgap to that. It doesn't sound like it's as effective as I think about collectibles like the games that I've platinumed in the past, where I'll use not even close to the same type of game, but Uncharted as an example. Uncharted, all the collectibles were named something different. So if you didn't have one, it was a specific name, and you can go look it up that way. But these are just rainbow conch shell, and there's you said 60 of them.
Yeah.
I think I've gotten like 14, and I'm more than halfway through the game.
You have to look up the land. Like you can look it up that way in the guides, and it'll say there are this many in this area of whichever island. But like some of them you'd never find on your own. Like there's a random in Brisk, the first little kind of sea town that you go to. Yeah. If you swim off to the bottom left, like forever, there's a little boy and his dad in a fishing boat. And the dad is like, as soon as we get 10 of this fish, then we'll go back in. And the kid's like, I don't want to go fishing. So you talk to him and he's like, hey, can you just bring me 10 fish? So then you have to go fishing at one of the lakes and bring this kid 10 fish. And he goes, hey, thanks. Here's a conch shell. So it's a collectathon for the collectathon. Oh my God. And why would you ever think that was a thing you had to do? So I agree. That is frustrating. All that said, the true ending is so much better. What you get easily just by playing through like the first, 20 hours or so. It's very anticlimactic. You just feel real empty the way that it ends. You're like, okay, cool, I guess. Thanks. Now what? You go through the rest of it, and there's just such a good payoff. You like it. I got real attached to a couple people in the story in particular, and one of them has a real sad storyline, and it helps really redeem that when you go all the way through in the true ending. I don't want to give any spoilers if anybody listening, or if you guys haven't played far enough along to get to any of those real sad notes yet. But it's there, and it's good. I highly recommend it. Put in the time.
Yeah.
I was playing it earlier today. I just finished the Dweller of Torment. Okay. So that's where I'm at, and I told you that I finally got to use what's her name's ultimate move, where she fires cannons. Yeah, it's
their little dance.
Such a good payoff, man. It's great. Like
it looks so epic coming in on that like hard wind, like a 45-degree angle. Oh man, it's good.
It really reminded me of like old school Final Fantasy summons, right? And it just with more animation though, which I thought was impressive at the time.
They're all like that too. So each character has its own ultimate, and they all have this big old heavily animated build-up that's real cool to watch the first time around when it comes up.
Oh, I didn't know that. I only have hers. So I haven't seen any other ones.
Ton of them come up. It's worth it. definitely make sure that you play through or use each of them at least once so you can see what they do. Some of them have real cool effects too. One guy that you come across eventually, his ultimate just like throws all these potions all over the screen, and it does massive damage to the enemies, and it heals everybody on your squad to full health. That happens to be active.
Okay.
It's pretty sick. So they've got good stuff. And then the keys and things, right? The locks rather with certain enemies. So when they're about to do a special move, they come up with their lock that has like the elemental damage you need to do to prevent them from going forward.
Right.
Some of those ultimates also have like 2 or 3 of those elemental moves, so you can knock them out real quick. One guy has an ultimate that is all of them. So if there's anybody with anything on the field, it's gone.
It's gone.
So it's good. The strategy gets heavy there.
I'm digging the hell out of it. It's really great, and I'm hoping to put some more time into it, especially now that I finished up Hyper Rush. I'll be able to put a little bit more time into it. But those dweller fights are really cool. Like they're very strategic in the way you handle things. Like the Dweller of Torment has, you have the option to hit his hands, and if you end up hitting his hands and he falls over, and you get more time to attack him, and just really cool stuff.
You got to be mindful. Everything has to have a point of what you're doing. Yeah. You can't just indiscriminately attack you.
And they give you that info like early on. Like I think it was Jeff was talking about what's the mist guy?
The mist,
Elder Mist that you first find, and you have to prove yourself to the Elder Mist, right? And if you fight the Elder Mist and you attack him head on, he just fucking destroys you. There's just no way to do it. You have to actually attack his weapon first and like make him drop his weapon, and then you can attack him head on. So really cool the way they handle a lot of those bigger boss fights. I like it.
And I'm also a wheels champion. Just throw that out there.
I have not even played it.
I've collected not all of the wheels champions. I've beaten the man who created the game in the universe. It's a lot of fun. If anybody's listening from Sabotage, I need you to make Wheels a dedicated mobile game that's multiplayer, so I can just play that against my friends. I think actually would be a ton of fun. Make that happen. It can't take that much tweaking. Just pull it up.
So Glenn, I'm not super surprised that you were into this game because like it takes place in the Messenger universe, correct?
It does take place in the Messenger
What are
universe.
the similarities? Like how do you know exactly it's tied in?
I had to go back on some of them because my time with the Messenger was a few years ago now. But there are bosses. So there's there's this leaf boss in the Messenger, and he pops back up as one of the mini bosses that you fight in Sea of Stars. It's the same exact character. He pops up. There's a lot of the lands are the same ones that you travel through, the actual same areas that you travel through, the same names.
Cool.
There's one really cool tie-in that's a little bit of a spoiler, so I don't want to get too much into it, but there's a character you meet in the Messenger about halfway through that has a really weird name, and he gets that name in Sea of Stars. It's given to him. So like you see a lot of those things that go on. They don't tie in as directly, like the plots don't tie in with each other. It just takes place in the same places, the universe, in different times in the universe.
Gotcha.
And then the music, so you can collect music sheets, and the pirate sea shanty folks, they're playing in all the bars you go to. They happen to be everywhere, no matter how fucking hard it is to get there. Here they are playing their damn accordions like they just got hired to go do a show. But you can give them the music.
There's one town that's literally underwater.
Yep.
And you go to the bar and they're fucking playing in the bar. I'm like, how did you get here?
Do you know how many things I had to unlock and how many skills I had to learn to get down here? And I had to
get this special thing so I could breathe underwater. Where did you get there? How did you?
These guys need to be within 3 feet of me while I'm using it, or they die. How did you get down here? But you can hand them music sheets, and they play some of the music is from the Messenger. You recognize it as some of the different world music there, and I'm like, oh, cool. What? It's just fun little things that if you fell in love with that universe the way that I did, you'll get those little nods and appreciate them.
I have to. I don't know who did the naming of some of the characters, but I got to give a shout out to whoever named the Captain Cliche. That's fantastic. I fucking love it. And you know, it's better when you find out who that is. It's relatively obvious, like as soon as you start playing, you know,
immediately.
Yeah. But it does make it all the more fun.
And it's supposed to be like they wrote it that way. Like,
absolutely.
Cliche is like, I gotta go, guys, and then some other character just shows up like 2 seconds later.
And I love that. Like once in a while, you just like everybody walks away and they just show her like taking her hook off and flexing her fingers or whatever. It's really good stuff, man. I have to say that, you know, this is I don't know if we want to save some of this for later, if we want to talk about it now, but there's a lot of little things they do in the game that make it feel like it's a you know, this was developed to be a nostalgia game, right? It's all, you know, a lot of sprite based, you know, visuals, and looks very, you know, 16, maybe 32-bit in some cases.
Yep.
But they add a lot of little things that I've noticed throughout the time that I've been playing it that are just ever so slight touches to remind you that you're playing something in the modern gaming era. And like one of the big things for me was there's a mine you go in, and when you're in the mine, there's these big crystals, and you go behind the crystals, and when you go behind the crystals, like your character distorts as they're behind them, and it's a very simple visual effect to do right now, right? But the fact that they added that in and they had the foresight to do it is really interesting. And the one that really got me today is in the Torment Peak. It's all dark when you go in there, and the effect there's crystals that you can go and you touch the crystals and they light up the area. And just the way that they do that, the lighting up of the area is, I don't know why. I can't really tell you why it feels like it's modern, but it does feel like it's modern. And in that dungeon, Jason, how much have you played of Sea of Stars?
I just got the captain.
Okay, so you've done the whole magic without magic, right? So when you actually attack someone and those little spheres come out, especially in Torment Peak, they add lighting to them, and they handle it really well, because when one of the things I noticed is that some of the orbs went behind the enemies. So there was essentially my characters and then the enemies, and the orbs were behind them. So when I held down R2 or the right trigger in this case to have them combine, they all combined behind the enemies. But the lighting was such that it lit up the side of the enemies that was not to me, so I couldn't see them anymore. Like it was dark, and all I see was like a silhouette of them. Like they do little things like that, and I know that there's I doubt they put like light sourcing on each of these little, you know, orbs or whatever.
Maybe,
but they do. But they do these very subtle modern design tactics that make it feel like it's something new, even though it's more of a nostalgic game. And I really appreciate them doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it when they step out of that comfort zone a little bit. It's kind of a disappointment, I think, nowadays, when it's a 1-to-1, you know, kind of representation of, you know, there's a game that I was thinking of called, I think it's called Crime City or something, that just came out not too terribly long ago, but it looks very much evocative of like NES style, you know, and it matches with the music, with the sound effects, with the visuals and stuff, and like the flicker, and it's like, okay, that's great that you're doing that, but I've seen this before. Let's try and do something else. So that's why games like The Messenger and like, the games like this, I think stand out to me a little bit more, like when they harken back to, those roots, I guess.
The Messenger too had such a cool gimmick with switching between the 8-bit and 16-bit when you're traveling through time. So like your character literally looked better, the music sounded better. It was like you were playing on the upgraded console, and then back in time you were back on your old NES again. Such a cool thing to be able to do, and like I feel like it's probably trickier than we think to do that. And it's not like you can just down res something and call it. The soundtrack's one thing, like that's all digital audio. It's not like they're really synthesizing that on a board anymore like they were in the old console days.
Sure.
So that part, sure. But creating those visuals in engine and having them be consistent and having them have that feel like you're creating those assets and then overlapping them, I think is probably the tough part with a game like that, because they had these areas where like there were those little fireflies that would go back and forth, and it's like they gave you a window into whatever the other time was. So you would see visuals that are a different resolution and would have different items there. When you're climbing up ledges and things, ledge didn't exist in the past, it exists in the future, but I need to do the thing in the past. So that little window would pop up and there would be areas you could jump to as long as you followed those guys where they were. And that was a super clever thing that I feel like probably was some poor developer's nightmare for like a solid 2-3 weeks. How do I make this perfect?
Nice.
So I appreciate the time in that too.
The timing of making the assets for that would be the big thing, because not only do you have to make the assets for each individual like time period and sprite style, but they have to be recognizable. Like the sprites, the 8-bit sprite, you have to be able to say 16-bit sprite looks the same. So that's, or looks, that it's that character. So
it was based on that. Yeah, like it's very cool.
So one other thing that I ran into today is when they create the town of Mirth, which is something that will happen. I'm not going to go into details about what it is. I didn't realize this was a crowdfunded game, I guess. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So when you get to the point where you're creating the town of Mirth, there is a crypt. And a couple of villagers come back afraid because they saw this cave and they said it felt eerie. And you walk in and you say, "Oh, we're going to go check it out. It's part of the story. We'll go check it out." And you go to the crypt and you find the crypt master, and he walks you in. And the crypt is literally like gravestones of all of the people that donated to the Kickstarter.
Nice.
And I thought that was really cool because it was in the game and it was like referenced and you could go and do it like within it. It wasn't just in the credits. And I'm sure there's other games that do something similar, but like I just you've got like all the little tombstones for the people that did like the lower donation amount, and then for the people that just throw money at it, they've got these big statues in the back and shit like that. It's like really cool stuff. Like I don't really. I'm trying to think of another game that did something similar, like in the game, and it's actually referenced in the story.
Right.
And I can't think of anything that's done that. So
certainly nothing with statues. That's cool.
Yeah. So if listeners, if there's another game that does something like that, let us know in the comments or something, because I'd like to see that. I'd like to experience that. I think it was really cool what they did.
Later on in the game, Chris, there's a couple tablets that you see, and they're unrecognizable. Like it's not in a language you would necessarily be able to read. But a few folks decrypted it, and it turned out that there were some conversations that went on in the Discord around developing this. Like a lot of the people that were bought in to be in the Discord channel said, "Oh, this would be a good idea. We should totally do this." And then they had names of the people who contributed to this idea, and they're all in there. If you decode them, all of their names are listed on these two tablets specifically that are like hidden in the game. You have to go find.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. It's such a fresh little game, and as I said, definitely there's definitely like nitpicks you could make. Collectibles are one thing. I think one of the things that bothers me, and this goes actually, I could bring this up with Hi-Fi Rush as well. When you're doing when you're in battle and you're building up your meter so you can do combo moves. Like, I feel like at the end of battle, if I've got enough to do the healing combo move, just let me do it before the battle ends. You know.
Mhm.
And Hi-Fi Rush is the same way, because Hi-Fi Rush, you build up your super meter, and then when you get out of whatever arena battle you're in, it just goes away. I'm like, why does it go away? You know, and things like that frustrate me. So I got to the
hard to stay that hype, man. Let me tell you.
But yeah, I got for Hi-Fi Rush, I got to the point where when I get close to defeating the last enemy, I would just use my super to heal up before I ended the battle.
Yeah,
and started trying to do the same thing with CR stars. Just try to do it that way.
You can use items in the overworld at least, but it's nicer to not have to, because you got a hard limit of 10. And
that's it. Yeah, the cooked items, and you can use like Vale's healing skill. You can still use that in the overworld too. So. But not having to use any spell points or anything, that's always nice.
Agreed. Yeah.
Cool. What else?
I dipped my toes into something indie game, roguelike. Trying to find the name of it here. Astral Ascent. There we go. I think it's out on Switch and Steam right now, but it's $25. Very Dead Cellsy as far as like, a very quick, snappy combat. There's lots of good aerial movement and such. It's got some good character action characteristics. So I'm looking forward to playing more of that. I've only played about an hour or so far. You get 4 main characters to toy around with. I've toyed with one. It's a lady with daggers. And combat's super fluid and stuff. So this could.
Ooh, this is really flashy.
Yeah, this looks right up my alley. So lots of enemies on screen and fireballs coming in from here and there, and you're darting around and in between them and killing stuff. And yeah, could be my jam.
Nice. I like the art style too. Looks really good.
I was kind of so on that at first, but they offer an outlined mode. What you're seeing is like they're very soft edges, and there's no hard outline to the character sprites. So it's for me, it's hard for them to get. They get mixed up in the backgrounds and in the action and such. So
I would certainly have that problem.
But there is a mode where you can outline your character and some of the enemies and such. So to make that a little bit more readable. So they've been thinking of that a little more accessible. So that's cool. Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna give it some more time.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
I'll put it on my list.
Only other thing that I've been playing is I did pick up Super Mario RPG, the remake.
Yeah, how's that been?
So I started that up. Have either of you played that, the old one?
No, I never have.
No, did not.
No, okay, because now I see where a lot of the mechanics from Sea of Stars comes from.
Oh yeah, totally.
But from a combat perspective, the combat is exactly the same as Sea of Stars. It's pushing buttons to extend attack. It's pushing buttons to block. And it works on all the special moves and all that stuff too. I was surprised about that. The biggest difference is that with Super Mario RPG, when you change weapons, it literally changes the animation of what your character's doing. So like Mario starts out with no weapon, so he just goes up and punches things, which is hilarious for Mario. And then he gets the hammer. So he goes up and he whacks things with the hammer. And then he gets a turtle shell. So the turtle shell, he kicks up in the air, and when it comes down, if you hit the button at the right time, it does an extra powerful kick at the enemy.
So the timing is way different.
The timing's different for every weapon. So whereas with Sea of Stars, you're trying to get the timing down just for one particular character, and if you change out the weapon, it doesn't matter. But this, as soon as you change a weapon, it's like, all right, I got to get the timing down on this one now. But it is pretty forgiving overall. It's not a true or false thing. There's kind of a gray area. So you'll get like you hit was the timing like a soft match or was it a hard match? Like how good was your timing on it? So you might do if you hit it right on, like you instantly get a crit, and if you're like just outside of like that exact timing, you'll do extra damage, but it won't be as much as if you had landed it, perfectly.
So it's like in the background, you've got one of those like Hot Shots golf gauges. Like,
no, you don't. You just got to figure it out. You just got to figure. I wish you did, but you don't. You just got to figure it out. It's a lot of fun right now, and I never played played it originally on the SNES. From what I understand, and I talked to my brother-in-law who was here yesterday, and we talked about it a little bit. He played the old one, and he said all that was in the old one too. And I'm like, all right, well. But yeah, basically the button press to do things in Sea of Stars, that was in Mario RPG, and that's I guess that's where. And I'm surprised I didn't get any feedback about that. But yeah, so far so good. It's pretty fun. I'm only about 3 or 4 hours in. Doesn't seem like a very long game.
No, I heard it's like 20 hours or something like that.
Yeah, which is fine. Like Super NES RPGs. I remember
first RPG. Yeah, it should be about 20 hours.
I remember playing Final Fantasy 2 or /4, and you could beat that one in under 20 hours easy if you rush through it.
I feel like 20 hours was a long game at that.
Then it was. I think Final Fantasy 6 was only like 30 hours, so it wasn't that much.
Sounds right.
More.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like it's 7. It's 7 stars, like the quest is 7 stars or something like that. And I've already gotten 2 of them, and I've only played it like I think I'm like 6 or 7 hours in, so probably won't be that long. But yeah, it's fun. Cool. I've got 3 of the characters so far, and they're all a little different. All get different types of weapons and different types of magic and stuff. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, I got it for Griffin. I showed him a trailer, and his eyes got a little wide. He's like, "Oh, okay, all right. Let's see what they're putting down here. Let's see what kind of game this is. It's an RPG. I understand this." So yeah, I got it for Christmas.
Nice.
He'll play it then.
Good stuff.
Excellent.
But yeah, that's it for me too. So, any other games that we need to talk about?
I think that's it. And I think we kind of cannibalized our feature as well, which was
a little bit.
Yeah, we kind of tried to throw it together. I tried to throw it in with the with the topical game.
Hell of a segue, sir. It was very good.
It was good. There's one point I'd like to bring up on that feature though. That
go for it. Yeah.
Well, so what was the feature to begin with?
Yeah, please.
It wasn't really a feature. We were just looking for something extra to talk about, and we were talking about like games that are made to feel nostalgic that are implementing modern game design in it, and that's something that what type of modern pieces do they put, and do we like that kind of thing, and that's where Sea of Stars came in. So
yep. Okay. So anyway,
my thought on this, there's been a lot of that throughout, I don't know, the last couple decades. When the people who played the games got old enough to make the games, that's really when you started getting these nostalgic modern games, right? But
that's true.
You had things like Super Meat Boy that came out, and that specifically was really good, and quite a few people played that, but it didn't like kick off. I don't feel like there was a huge just onslaught of these modern classic style of games right after that. But I do feel like right now there are a ton. If you go on the Steam store or anywhere else.
Oh yeah, absolutely there.
And I think one of the big catalysts for that, and at least in the last couple of years, is you have a lot of those like Neos and now the Steam Deck, the Asus ROG, things that are really cool and powerful enough to play larger games, but with a battery to only do it for an hour and a half. So now I want to play something portably, but I would like to play it for longer than 20 minutes before I have to find a wall jack to plug into. And these games are great because they're fun. They have a lot of modern themes and pieces that come together in it, but because they're either built on old engines or minimalized engines, you play forever. They're there's just there's no downside from a power perspective there.
Sure.
Yeah.
To get things done. So they're very, very accessible. And that audience has grown so much that I think there's a huge market of people that will play it, even if they aren't nostalgic for it, just to have something to play that's fun, that they can sink more time into, actually sink their teeth into.
Glenn, you going to get that OLED?
Oh, I want it. I want it so bad. But if there was like a buyback program, absolutely.
Sure.
But if I was to do it now, I need to sell this one at close to the price I got it at, which you can't
Won't
do because
happen.
they brought down the price on the very model that I have right now to make it cheap. So, at best I could get a couple $100 for mine. And that's just not gonna fly. Not gonna cut it for that. It's not enough of a worthwhile upgrade, I don't think, to sell it.
I think you're right. Yeah. There's a battery
I'm
upgrade,
certainly not going to get it.
but I still don't think that it's like a little bit bigger of a screen, the better battery life. That's really about it. But I'm not sure if it's worth double dipping in.
I'm slightly bitter.
From the Switch too.
I'm slightly bitter that it's coming out that quickly, but
sure,
I'll deal with it.
Yeah.
Did you just pick one up recently?
Oh no, I've had mine for over a year
since launch, right? You had it at launch, right?
I pre-ordered it, but I didn't get it until months in, right? Because it came out in February or whatever it was of last year. And I got mine around September of last year, I think it was, because
I got mine,
I remember I changed mine from the big boy to the small boy.
Yeah,
essentially
at the back of the queue, didn't it?
Put me at the back of the put me at the back of the line. So that kind of sucked, but
no cuts.
On the topic though, one of the things I was going to say is like I love like I'll always have like this desire to play. As long as the gameplay is good and it's fun to play, like I don't care what the graphics look like, as long as it's as long as it's visibly not offensive. I'll certainly want to play it. But like for a lot of those more nostalgic games, like do what you need to do to put in the convenience technology that needs to be there. Like one of the things that I didn't realize until recently, just until like 2 weeks ago, the original Phantasy Star from the Sega Master System, like from a graphical perspective, like if you go back and look at 8-bit RPGs, it was the best one, period. Like there's just no competition there.
Oh, I don't know. Now I'm thinking about it.
8-bit for like NES and Sega Master System.
Final Fantasy is pretty fucking good.
It does not look nearly as good as Phantasy Star does.
I don't know about that.
It doesn't. It doesn't. Go back and look. And look. As a matter of fact, if you go and compare any games that were on both the NES and the Sega Master System, Sega Master System always beats it. From a quality perspective, but there weren't not nearly enough games for the Sega Master System to be a thing. But I digress. They re-released Phantasy Star 1 as a Sega Ages classic on the Switch, and they added mapping for the 3D dungeons that they did.
Yo, that's on sale right now for like $2.
Get it?
Okay, all right.
Get it?
Fine.
Like it's the.
You've been told.
It's a great game, but the biggest issue with that game was that they had these really elaborate 3D dungeons that you walk in, so it's a first-person view, and there's no mapping to it at all. So if you wanted to get through these dungeons, you were doing the mapping yourself. I actually I'm sure I still have a binder with all my old maps in it from when I played it when I was a kid. But now they actually added everything to put all the mapping in there. And that's kind of what I'm getting at with this. It's like, those are the types of things that need to be in games right now. The quality of life stuff. Make sure if you're going to make a game that is going to hit all the nostalgia feels, make sure you're putting in the quality of life stuff that's going to make it worth playing. And I guess that kind of leads to what we were talking about with the rainbow conch shells. Like, that's frustrating that there's not like a good way to track which ones you've collected. That's a quality of life thing that should definitely be there.
Yeah.
So it's a little frustrating, but I mean, Any other quality of life type stuff that you guys like in to be put in there?
Like some emulator stuff is kind of nice. Like there were the Game Boy Advance Castlevania games that came out not too terribly recently, but ones that I had not played through before, just for whatever reason. But I started using like the rewind feature.
The Advance Collection, the Castlevania Advance Collection?
Yeah, exactly. So like, you'd hold down L2 or something like that, and you would go back kind of frame by frame. So if you got hit, you could just kind of rewind it back. And it was it was an easy way to just like play through that game and not waste my time, I guess. I easily could have, brute forced it or something like that, but I wouldn't have had as much fun, I don't think.
Yeah.
So
and for
stuff like
like
that is
for Circle of the Moon, especially like Circle of the Moon, it felt like there were so few save points and teleporters that it like the rewind feature becomes a substitute for that.
Okay.
So it's like if you end up dying on a boss, you just rewind it to the point where you can try and get through it again. I don't think they give you enough to go to the very beginning of the boss fight. But if you get hit, if you start out bad or something like that, you just rewind it to start again. And like there's Circle of the Moon especially was bad about save points and teleporters. So. Yeah.
But that was like a modern convenience that I was like surprised that I would have liked, And now I use it every now and again in like emulation stuff, like on my Mister and stuff like that. So using rewind and pause and fast forward even sometimes. So that stuff's handy. Okay.
You brought up my two, Chris, which were fast travel and save points. I don't like games where I have to go to a spot and hit a button and hit save that have no autosave or checkpoints along the way. The amount of times where I thought I had saved something or, I'm so used to playing games now where I could just shut it off at any given point. And I'm going to be either really close to where I just was or exactly where I just was when I boot that game back up. So that was one that was stressful when I was playing Sea of Stars a couple times. Like if I finally accomplished something, I'm like, okay, go get to a save point right now. Just make sure you've got it. Make sure you got it saved.
That does have checkpoints though, just not many of them, I don't think.
There's all the book. You have to go to the book and hit save.
Well, when I was going to face the torment, the boss of the Torment Peak, I saved, and there's a particular large animal that you interact with.
Okay.
And after you do, it's like they say, well, now only one place to go now is forward. But in the save room, you could actually go two directions. And I tried to leave the room, and it said, and it basically told me no. So I essentially went back to title and reloaded. And what it did is it put me right outside of that room. It didn't put me at the book. It put me right outside of that room. So there was some sort of checkpoint save at that point. I just don't think there's that many.
Great. I must have not paid attention to one line of text while I was playing the game, and I gave myself undue stress.
Well, the funny thing is like you bring that up, and like in Super Mario RPG, like they're pretty insistent upon letting you know that they upgraded the save system so that it's not just the boxes that you can jump on and save. And they say, oh, but if you move to another area, we're going to save it for you anyway. So,
just so you know.
Yeah, just so you know.
It's good. It makes you feel better. And then fast travel's the other one, which there's a lot of classic games that have some sort of fast travel, and I think it's the style. So for me, my preference now in most modern games that have fast travel, you unlock it as you go to the areas. Once you have physically walked to an area or gone to a level, you can teleport there. Metroid Dread is probably a good example of this, where you could unlock the ones that go to each other, right? And what was frustrating about that for me is that was it. They were locked down to there. And then when you get to the end of the game, because I was trying to 100% that one, once you have gotten to 100% or unlocked all of the teleporters, rather, excuse me, then they interlink, and now you can fast travel from any one to any other one.
That's
what once I've gone to the area, I want to be able to go to that area from any of the fast travelable stations. Don't make me travel to a place to travel. That
Yeah. Yeah, because in Dread, before you got all of them unlocked, you had to, okay, I need to go back to this place. So I need to travel here, go to this one, and then go to this one. And yeah, I remember that
traveling
being
on the subway in New York. It's like, all right, so I take the red line and go to the yellow line.
I did, but along with that, I would say that of the Metroid series, Dread had the least backtracking for me. Like Dread, I felt like was more linear overall, and then like you don't even get like your last power up until the very end of the game, essentially. But I don't know if other people feel like that, but I felt like of the Metroid games, Dread feels like it was the most linear of them.
I'm not going to argue. I didn't play it.
Cool. I don't really have anything else to add. So, if you guys are good, I think I'm good too.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please tell a few friends about us. Like, subscribe, and comment below. We really appreciate it and helps the show out a lot. Also, check out our Linktree. You can get there just by going to interactivedistractions.com. And feel free to help us out on Patreon if you are feeling so gracious.
Join our Discord.
And join our Discord. That's right. No longer do you have to be a patron to get to Discord. So come to the Discord, join the community, and we'd love to talk to you.
Yeah.
But until next time, my name is Chris.
I'm Jason.
I'm Glenn.
Play your games, and we'll talk to you next week.